Good morning, beautiful people. Can you see me? I think you can. For once, it's actually focused. And I'll tell you why it's focused as well. It's because I got a new camera. I had to, because after I filmed that impressions video, which by the way, I'm so glad all of you liked it. I'll talk about that in a minute. But basically I filmed it, I got up, walked past the tripod, pushed the tripod fell over onto hard marble floor, camera smashed. Today is obviously going to be a bit of a different what I eat in a day. I am in isolation, not as in here in the UK right now at the time of filming this. We're not in official like lockdown where we have to stay in our houses all day and then we're only allowed out to buy food. But first, you want to know what I'm eating, don't you? So basically I made this smoothie. Yeah, so this smoothie was purple, but I spent about an hour trying to take a thumbnail, and it's now brown, but it still tastes good. It's frozen blueberries, bloobs, frozen bloobs, fresh bloobs. Scoop of the Madagascan protein powder from Vivo Life. I think it's almost overtaken the salted caramel for me. I'm in love with it. Goes so well with berries. And then just blend with ice and almond milk. Simple, love it. It's very sweet. And then I just have I was in the mood, I'll tell you what actually, there's a whole story time behind this. I was in the mood for avocado toast. Right now in all the grocery stores, it's like as soon as the doors open, people are just diving on the food and things like bread, pasta, rice, which I don't eat that much of anyway, but even things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, they're gone within like the first hour of the stores opening. It's mad. And you'd think these people are hoarding, right? Like they're going underground for 6 months, that they would just buy dried staples. But no, like the fresh produce, like it's even been hard to find greens. And you know, I will self-combust without my greens. Like I don't know what would happen. So yeah, I haven't been to the store today, but yesterday when I went, the only like avocado toast-ish thing I could find was bagels. Today is actually going to be a full day of complete isolation, which I'll talk more about in a minute, but back to this. I've just got some fresh raspberries and a bagel, and I would usually go for just like the whole wheat bagel or the sesame bagels or the cinnamon bagels, but the only thing that was left in Sainsbury's yesterday when I went was, I think these are onion and chive bagels. They smell really good, and then I've just smushed over the top a whole large, actually it wasn't large, a whole medium creamy avocado. Cheers. It's very oniony, but it's good. When I have been going to the grocery store in the last few days, I actually feel selfish for buying, because you all know like I eat huge amounts of greens, romaine, fresh fruit. Do you know what, I don't actually know how I feel about this, because I feel like a lot of people are just bulk buying selfishly and unnecessarily. I mean, don't even get me started on the toilet roll. It's like you can't find toilet roll anywhere. But I mean, that one doesn't even make sense to me, because it's like half the country is like severely constipated anyway. So what are you doing with all this toilet roll? I actually want to know. Luckily for me, I have a pantry that's always pretty well stocked. Not so much with like all of the fresh produce, like, you know, greens and avocados and fresh fruit, things that I would normally buy daily. But in my pantry, just because I always film what I eat in a days, I'm always creating recipes. So I had a lot of dried staples like oats. I think I'm gonna make some oats later. Chickpea pasta, regular pasta, chickpeas, like just had myself covered without even knowing it. Because I went into panic mode and then I opened my like this sliding drawer, I can't explain it, it's like a drawer that like slides out, and there was just basically like a whole supermarket in there, so I'm good. So yeah, today's day of eating is just going to be using what I've got, the ingredients I already had in my pantry, plus the addition of some fresh produce. I'm gonna try and keep it as healthy and, well, for me, as tasty as possible. And what's crazy to me is that, I mean, it's crazy because people are running around the stores like panicking, you know, that they're not gonna have certain condiments that they normally have, or they're not gonna be able to like have ketchup for the next 2 months. And it's like, when I say people, I'm talking about me. Because like even in the stores, like it's hard to find ketchup right now. And you know I'm a ketchup addict, a ketchup fiend, a ketchup. And like everyone's rushing around trying to buy hummus. You can't find hummus anywhere. It's like, don't worry, I've got hummus and I can make my own if I need to. But it really brings back the perspective of half the world, maybe more than half the world, doesn't even have food. You know, apart from like simple crops like 90% of the time, or for some people all of their lives. And here we are in the privileged world, like worrying about certain condiments that we might miss out on. It's a bit of a reality check. One thing I won't go without, obviously, is tahini. And even all the tahini, like even the bad stuff, like even the clay stuff, has been sold out in the stores. So the other day I did a 3-hour round trip. I drove an hour and a half to a Middle Eastern store that I used to live near to, but I don't anymore, an hour and a half back, just to find some tahini. Because, guys, this is not about me being selfish. This is about the fact that I'm an addict, and my body is so used to copious amounts of sesame seeds that I actually think if I went without it for a few days, I would go into withdrawal. I'd probably have to go on like methadone or something. It's funny, I was actually talking to Christina about this the other day because, you know, we both have Middle Eastern blood. Our life both revolves around tahini, and she was saying that she couldn't find any. And it was just a whole situation, but I felt like we've bonded over it. So one thing I will say is that this kind of isolation period, again, even though in the UK we're not by law required to stay in our houses all day yet, but most people are, most people are being sensible and staying at home. And I'm gonna be honest, up until last week, until the gym shut, I was being an idiot. I was that idiot that was still going to the gym. But you can always do home workouts. If you have a skipping rope, if you have a garden, if there's a field near your house, you know, even if you just have a couch, there are things you can do to still work out at home. So I'm gonna backtrack to this morning and show you how I turned this area that I'm in right now into a little home workout zone. So I've basically turned my kitchen into a little home workout area. Well, for the next hour anyway. Yeah, all I have is a mat. The mat is mine. The bench and the weights I stole from a family member, but the weights aren't really heavy enough, so I'm gonna see what I can do with them. But yeah, the bench, there's just millions of things you can do on that. Have some kettlebells as well, but again, they're way too light. Good thing about this room, again, this is my kitchen, is that the ceilings are high, like high. It's like in a dome, kind of little triangle situation going on up in here, which means the good news is I can skip and I won't hit the ceiling. So yeah, this morning I did some skipping. Inside, I do actually have a garden outside as well. I don't know why I decided to do it inside, I just did. So yeah, I did some skipping. I did some squats, some lunges, some push-ups, some light shoulder work, some stretching. Just kind of made up like a little circuit that I repeated like 5 times just to get a good sweat on. And then I went for a long walk outside. The fields where I live, like I always say, I'm so lucky. There was not a soul outside to be seen, and I loved it. So I just went for like a long 45-minute walk around the fields, and it's also just such a beautiful day. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's making me appreciate nature more. And even though I am a very pessimistic person, believe it or not, I do think that everyone will come out of this like stronger, with just a different perspective on life, on like what's important and what's not. And for me, honestly, I'm not finding it hard at all, because I am an introvert, and I'm really enjoying the time on my own, like to be able to work on projects and just, I'm loving the onion flavor. Also, hold on. Anna was actually supposed to come down today to stay with me, but I told her not to. The introvert in me is just enjoying this time too much. So yeah, Anna, if you're watching this, I'm not even sorry. I will say as well, if you're stuck home alone in a small apartment and you don't have any exercise equipment whatsoever, then I would definitely recommend watching MadFit. My good friend Maddie, she has the best home workout channel on the whole of the internet, and I feel like at this time especially, like, it's just helping hundreds of thousands of people, because to do most of her workouts, you don't even need equipment. So definitely recommend that. Anyways, I'm gonna go munch and slurp, and I'll see you at lunch. All right, I am roasting up this tray of vegetables. I have got 1 head of broccoli, and then I'm using my last potato. Again, like, potatoes are like hard to find. And some butter mushrooms, and then I've just tossed it in some olive oil, salt, pepper, and a little bit of coconut aminos. I'm gonna throw these in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes till they're nice and caramelized and slightly crispy. and then we're gonna build a bowl, some kind of high protein bowl. So I'm gonna make this like my biggest meal of the day with a lot of greens, a lot of vegetables, got some tofu for the protein. So we're gonna make some kind of nice Buddha bowl, and then later, I don't know, my last meal of the day might even be a sweet one. We'll see. Oh, also I forgot to tell you, there's obviously gonna be a nut butter review in this video. It doesn't matter whether we're in quarantine, if we're in World War III, whatever happens, there will always be a nut butter review, so just so you know. Also guys, whilst we're on the subject of, okay, we weren't on the subject of tahini, well we kind of were earlier, but when I was panic buying the other day because I couldn't find, like, even the average ones were sold out, I went and bought this one from Meridian. They had it in, they don't sell this in the grocery stores. They sell this in a health food shop near me, and I have to say it's one of the most disgusting tahinis I've ever tasted. It's like beyond bitter. It's so thick that you could, I don't know, whatever you do with thick stuff, I don't know. All I'm saying is this stuff is actually inedible. I'm sorry Meridian, but you're cancelled. So this is the tofu I'm using. It's Basil Tofu. The reason I'm using this is because I couldn't find the plain one in any of the grocery stores the last few days. But I've had this one before and it's delicious. You don't even have to roast it. It's so much flavor. Just an easy way to add a lot of protein to this bowl. Okay, I'm just gonna preface this with the fact that I know that this looks burnt as fuck, but it's actually not. This is exactly how I wanted it. That's because of the coconut aminos. Similar to if you use like balsamic vinegar or anything sweet like maple syrup, it is gonna caramelize, but they are not burnt, they are just perfectly cooked. Okay, before anyone asks me. All right, so here is the final result. In this bowl, we have got at the bottom my last head of romaine. Hopefully I can find some more tomorrow. Some other dark leafy greens that I had in a packet. Some red pickled cabbage, which I always have in my fridge for when I don't have fresh cabbage. Obviously the crispy roasted potatoes. My last potato. Again, hope I can find more tomorrow. And there are also some roasted shrooms in there too as well. My last half of a perfectly ripe creamy avocado. Some cherry tomatoes, hummus, and then this is the basil tofu I showed you earlier. Again, you don't even have to cook it, you can, but it already has so much flavor. Just needs a good drizzle of liquid gold. This is a little bit more. I think I'm gonna do something with oats later for a change. But anyways, I can't wait to dive into this. Look at how crispy that is. Remember, crispy, not burnt. And happily apply to face. Cheers. For so many years, I just didn't understand the fuss about white potatoes. But now I do. Like, I'm more of a white, no, actually no, that's a lie. I was gonna say I'm more of a white potato person now than a sweet potato one, but that's never the case. Although, I have not been able to find Japanese sweet potatoes like literally for the last year. Sorry, The Simpsons are on TV. Anyways, I'm gonna go wolf this down and you all know what's coming next. Alright guys, so today we are reviewing something I have not tried in absolutely years. I know I've tried hazelnut butter on this channel before at some point, but it definitely wasn't this one, and I think it was a raw one, and I think I gave it a low mark. You all know I love my nuts, but I've always said that the one nut I can't get along with, like just in whole form, is hazelnuts, just because they're like powdery. So yeah, hazelnuts in general I hate, but hazelnut flavor is always my go-to flavor. Like in coffee, I'll get like hazelnut syrup. But yeah, I'm just not a big buyer of hazelnut butters. So I thought it was time. So yeah, this hazelnut butter is from the brand Bio and Organic. The ingredients are just 100% hazelnuts, not even any salt. Oh lord. Okay, no guys, okay, actually. Oh my god. This automatically should get a 0 for this. I mean look, it is just impossible to churn. That's blasphemy. Fucking hell. Alright guys, it's been 20 minutes and it's still not fully like churned, but I am not prepared to churn anymore. So also don't have any celery, couldn't find any this morning, so we're going in with a carotte. Cheers. That's insane. Guys, this is gonna be my new almond butter. It's almost sweet. It obviously reminds me of Nutella. But mate, that was even worth the churn. I feel like my life is forever changed. I don't even want to add salt. And that's saying something because I'm a salt addict. Yeah, if you're in the UK, would 100% recommend. You can find these in most health food stores. Anyways, I'll see you at dinner.
You see how that chocolate is melting into the oats.
Alrighty, so here is my jazzed up bowl of oats. I never have oats for dinner. I don't know why I don't. Because like I always tell you, they make me sleepy. So in the morning it's a no-no, but nighttime if I want to chill out, I don't know, eating oats almost makes me feel like I'm high. Anyone else? As you can see, this dark chocolate, oh, look at how that's melted. By the way, this dark chocolate I put in the middle, it's the new one. I think it's new. It's from Green and Blacks. It's their raspberry crunch one, and it is, oh, it's just out of this world. Yeah, when I make oats, I don't really measure them. God knows, I probably put a cup and a half in there. And this peanut butter lake, in fact, it's not even a lake. It's a river at this point. I drizzled with a little bit of pomegranate molasses. Pomegranate molasses, if you haven't tried it, it's great in salad dressings. It's very tangy, very sour, sharp, but has a bit of sweetness too. Oh, and of course, I gave it a good sprinkle of hemp seeds, which I have also now run out of, and I need to try and find some tomorrow. Look at me attacking the peanut butter side. Cheers. You know, as I go through the layers of this, I'm gonna drizzle more peanut butter on top. Cheers. I realised that I never do proper outros anymore, as in like face to the camera, but I'm sending you all so much love. I know that the next few weeks, maybe even months for some people, are going to be a lot more difficult just because, you know, being confined in apartments or houses and lack of the normal types of food you might eat, etc. But I'm going to try my best to upload more frequently just to connect with you guys and give you a form of escapism and, you know, stuff like that. But I love you all, and I'll see you on the next video. Laters.